Who was it?
Bruce Lee wasn't no competitor. No, he wasn't the fastest. He wasn't no top competitor. Joe Louis, Mike Stone, Bill Superfoot Wallace, all these real champions I had to fight. Nobody want to question me on that. You beat Bill Wallace? Wow. You beat Chuck Norris? If Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee had a fought for real, Chuck Norris would have killed Bruce Lee.
Wow.
You are now part of a social experiment.
See now where my limit is. Only got no ohs.
Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us today on the journey towards self-mastery. Our next guest is one of the greatest martial artists of all time. He has been practicing martial arts for over 70 years. He's a 10th degree black belt. He's the first ever American world champion and the first African American to win a major karate competition. He placed in every single tournament he's competed in. He's a 4-time world karate champion. He defeated every national champion from the 60s and 70s like Chuck Norris, Jim Kelly, Mike Foster, and Glenn Keeney. He's credited for being a pioneer of mixed martial arts. He has an upcoming documentary set to release. Let's welcome today Grandmaster Vic Moore to the program. Mr. Moore, how you doing today, sir?
Very fine.
It is an honor having you on the program, man. Shout out to Mr. Christopher Everett that is working on your documentary. He alluded me to your work and told me about everything, and I looked you up, and I'm like, why don't I know this guy, man? Like, when this is what I call hidden black history, because if you type in the greatest martial artist of all time right now, like you go and Google it, you'll see Chuck Norris, you'll see Bruce Lee, and then you might see a couple of black guys maybe, but I don't see Grandmaster Vic Moore, and you faced off with those guys, man, and you beat Chuck Norris and you beat Bruce Lee in the speed competition. So it's like, why is Grandmaster Vic Moore not up there? So I'm glad that, Christopher Everett is doing a documentary on you, because I think you're a missing piece of black history that we should know.
Very definitely.
Yeah, man. So you yourself have dedicated over 70 years of your life to this thing called martial arts. And I've heard you talk about the idea of martial arts quite a bit. So before we get started on your life, I'd like to know exactly, what martial arts means to you and what is the purpose of it?
Well, first of all, it's a way of life with me, and it should be with all other serious-minded karate individuals. Karate is not just a game or plaything. It is a way of life. It direct, control, and spirit your life. And it helps you in everything that you do. And if everything that you do is governed by karate, then it should be a way of life. Your breathing, your concentration, everything. And it is not just about fighting or winning tournaments. It's the way that you sleep, the way that you breathe, wake up, the way that you walk, and everything else. It is a total way of life.
And what would you say is the purpose of it? Why should somebody do martial arts?
To make you a better person, make you a more understandable, acceptable individual, and it helps you throughout your life. A lot of people are hot-tempered, they're angry, and karate mellows you out, you might say. I used to be pretty hot-tempered, but as you see, I'm more mellow now.
Yes, sir. All right, so we got that part. We got martial arts. Now you are a 10th degree black belt and a grandmaster. So those that are listening in may not be familiar with those terms and exactly what it means in the martial arts world. So can you explain exactly what a 10th degree black belt means and a grandmaster? How do you get those things?
Kicking ass. You hell. No, I'm just teasing. Well, we go through some steps that we go through. You start off with a white belt. And when I was coming up, there was only a white and a brown and a black belt. Nowadays, we have yellow, blue, green, purple, brown, black, all different kind of colors, because it becomes more of a financial thing now, rather than an art and science. And to get up in those different degrees, belts, we had to go through the art and the science of karate. And your next question would be, well, what are the art and the science of karate? And our scientificness are those very precise techniques that we use. And the art is the beauty of it. If you can think of skaters, ice skaters, the beauty that they perform,
Right.
the ballerinas, the beauty that they form, there should be some of that in the art of karate. But when you just see jumping up and down and swinging their arms and fighting and no finesse, that's not the art of karate. And we have particular ways of standing, blocking, punching, striking, kicking, every aspect with some finesse, some beauty, some form to it.
Now, some people might say, okay, this is an art and it's a science, but it's not necessarily a fighting skill or tactic that if I get in the street fight, that is really gonna, if somebody knows how to fight, that is going to really save my life or assist me in that. Some people believe that, martial arts does not translate to real fighting. So what are your thoughts on those people that think that?
I would say true. Absolutely correct. It's not just about fighting. It's not about just protecting yourself on the street, but that is part of it. We may learn the martial arts from different instructors, and it depends on how that instructor may teach you. But how we are taught is a particular way, but how we want to use it is up to the individual. So if you wanted to use the martial art for self-defense, it's available to you.
Right.
If you wanted to use it for tournaments, winning trophies, it's available to you. But however, the instructor, the way that they teach is going to dictate more of the preciseness of your training.
That makes sense. Okay. So just for clarity, right? You have somebody who is the best martial artist, in the world versus somebody who's the best street fighter in the world. Who do you think is winning that fight? Does it depend, or if it's a life or death situation?
How do we determine who's the best? I guess we would have to see who comes out on top. Who comes out on top must have been the best.
Got it. All right. So
now, just because you may say you are the best, or he may say that he's the best, does not mean that he's the best. You may take a movie star and everything that you see in the movies are fake. Turn around and look at your movies. There's nothing in your movies that are real. It's all fake. fake bullets, fake knives, fake tables and chairs, breakaway, they're called. Breakaway bottles and stuff is called. It's not real. If all of that stuff was real, we'll be killed. We'll be dead. We'll be in the hospital.
You're right.
So face up to it. What you see in the movies is fake, 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 not real, real, real. So when you put a movie star with a real competitor, you guess who's going to come out on top.
Yes, sir.
Now, if it's in the movie, if it's a movie role, you can still guess who's going to come out on top. The movie star. I hope that helped answer your question.
Crystal clear. Thank you for that one. All right. So when it comes to Grandmaster Vic Moore, you started your martial arts at 7 years old. So I'm thinking.
Oh, yes.
So I'm thinking, how does a little black boy growing up in Cincinnati at 7 years old in the 1940s get hip to something that a lot of black people aren't doing, martial arts? And how did you even get into these spaces?
Well, first of all, it was not for self-defense per se. It was for an activity, a nice activity that you just take the interest in. And when I started, I was in the Cub Scouts, and we were doing it for fun. We were doing it somewhat for a little protection, but not knowing what kind of protection, but seeing certain things that made you think about a more serious form of protection. And when I was coming up, we seen some things. And when I say we, I'm speaking about the little scouts, the Cub Scouts. We saw things on our traveling bus to a hike that was very serious-minded things. For instance, there were the Ku Klux Klan hanging some black folks.
Wow.
Well, we didn't play hanging black folks, but we may play punching and kicking and doing things of that nature at each other for play. So in that realm, it was not as serious as we practiced and played. But to see something so horrendous as our race of people being hung, that was serious. Serious enough that we took it upon ourselves that we wanted to make sure that that wouldn't happen to us. And especially when the Klansmen start charging after the bus, bamming on the door to get at us little black people. Because when we saw that and the scoutmaster saw what was going on, he was baffled and taken back and hollered out and said, "What in the heck are you guys doing over there?" "Oh, there's some more black folks on that bus. Let's get them." And for them to charge at us and bam on the door, us little black boys was terrified. And that stuck with us, or with me especially, to make me want to practice this stuff more seriously and make sure that that doesn't happen to me or any of my friends. So that was a beginning point, but not just an all-out reason, but enough reason to make you serious about some of your training, your practice.
That makes sense. I mean, still at 7 years old, most 7-year-olds would have fear and be fearful.
Exactly. And we had plenty of enough fear going at us.
Man.
But to have stuck with it, you had to be serious about it. You had to be serious about your training. So things that may start off as, hey, we having some fun over here. When you see something like that, you take that fun that you was having into more serious realms.
Interesting. All right. So as far as your teachers go, who were some of your teachers, and were they okay with a little training a black boy in martial arts? That was not really something happening at that time. You know, how'd you transition through that?
Well, when I started, there wasn't many black folks doing karate. There wasn't many karate students to be. So it was hard trying to learn because the white race, the white people, did not want to train black people. Matter of fact, they didn't even want to associate with black people.
Right.
So when you think of back in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, there wasn't a lot of mixing. Black people didn't go into a white person establishment. So you had to try and find a black person to teach another black person. And the way that we got educated into the art of karate was by the military. There was some black people had picked up the martial arts in their training in the different countries. And when they got out of the military, they brought it back home and they would teach their brothers and their cousins and so on. And then it was up to the individual to like it well enough and respect it enough to start taking it more seriously. So it wasn't a lot of instructors to teach the martial art. And when I started, I had to go places where black people didn't go. But the discipline that karate was being taught at an early age, you had a lot of discipline. Of course, my parents had enough discipline on us, my brother and I, that we carried a lot of discipline with us. But when we went to a karate school where we had to take our shoes off and bow and show respect, we was accepted into that karate school.
Right.
But it was mainly judo that we had to go through first because there was more judo than karate, because the military has also studied judo and jujitsu. So that's how we got started. But it didn't stop there. It carried on over, because when I used to go to tournaments and I go in to compete, they would stop me at the door and say, this black boy can't come in here. And Robert Trias, who brought karate to America in 1946, who had a big organization, he had accepted me into his school and had trained me very well. And he would go up to these directors of the white establishment and says, if you don't let this boy in, you're not going to have a tournament, because he's the defending champion. I made a champion out of him, and he's going to defend it here. Oh, well, he have to come in the back door. Oh, no. If he don't come in the front door, I'll just take these 500 members and we'll go somewhere else. well, yeah. Well, okay. He didn't want to lose like that money.
Since you put it like that, come on in.
Other tournaments, I would go in and they would say, Vic Moore, you're not going to win this tournament. We know you some champion running around here winning all these tournaments. And I know he wanted to say over us white folks. But I would turn to him and say, how are you going to stop me from winning? Well, we got 3 out of 5 judges, or we got 2 out of 3 judges, which means they're going to not call my points. They're going to have the majority of the votes, you know?
Right.
And it just made me have to fight that much harder. So you brought it on, and I'm going to carry it on. So that's some of the stuff that we had to go through coming up through karate.
Yeah, man. You not only are you fighting as a martial art, but you're fighting racism at the same time, you know, through all that, you know. So that's interesting. So I don't want to skip over the part of just mastery, because I think martial arts has a lot to do with self-mastery and really developing yourself. And, you know, I've heard you speaking to some of your students about like focusing on a drop of rain and being able to punch that drop of rain and you know, like those kind of things. So I want to know from your experience, like what was your transition as far as developing from belt to belt and mastering the arts and developing your techniques and everything? What did it look like?
Well, we had to be very precise with our techniques, and we had to do them over and over and over. And my instructor was very strict, being that he was the one that brought karate to America. And he had some very good students, but I had to fight his students to prove myself and develop myself. Karate was so prejudiced back in the days that we had to fight not just the individual, but the prejudice that went along with it. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I have a picture right here beside me that would give you an example of the degree of prejudice that we had to do. And if you look on this leg, there is a picture of the Confederate flag.
Oh, wow. I didn't even notice that.
I'm trying to see if I can see it here on. Can you see that? Can you see that on that leg of his uniform?
Yeah. Wow.
How would you like to go in the competition with the Ku Klux Klan standing there? But you got to fight.
Wow.
So that just gives you a little example. People say, oh, it couldn't have been that rough, or it couldn't have been like that, you know. When you're going into a tournament and they won't let you in because of the color of your skin, and then when you do got to compete against them, they are part of the Ku Klux Klan or racist group. How do you expect to get a fair call with your competition, your mass, you know? But because my instructor had me punching at raindrops in the rain, punching at snowflakes out in the snow, inside punching past a mirror to make yourself a blur over and over and over until you become a blur in front of the mirror. It's going to make you better. It's going to make you good, you know? So Vic Moore had to practice extremely hard to get past the prejudice and to do well within the instructor strictness of punching at raindrops and snowflakes and etc. But besides of that, winning tournaments, he wanted to make sure that we were good. And he would take us out to eat. You guys want to go out and eat? Oh, yes, sir. We want to go and have a nice steak dinner or whatever. And he would take us to a restaurant, some very prejudiced restaurant.
Mm.
And we would look around and wonder, why are we here in this restaurant? And he would go over and tell the group of guys that's maybe over in the corner or at the bar, you see those guys over there? They say they're going to kick y'all ass. What? They want? We ain't said nothing. And we over there eating. Next thing you know, we have to fight. We have to prove ourselves.
Wow.
Next month or two, hey, y'all want to go out and eat? Oh, yeah. Oh, well, we're not sure where we're going to go. Oh, we're going to go to here, to there, you know. Next thing you know, we sitting there eating, and he done went and told this ethnic group, these people, something different. Them guys over there said they're going to take y'all wives. They're going to do this and do that. They said, what? We ain't said nothing. We sitting there eating, enjoying ourselves. And there's another fight. Well, we had to whoop them all. We had to beat the living stew out of them to save ourselves. Well, y'all want to go out and eat again? No. Well, no, Master Trias, I'm not sure we want to go out and eat. What? You keep telling these people things. Well, I know you guys can win trophies. Y'all are very good. Y'all are champions. But I want to see how good you can work on the street in real situations.
Yeah, it is.
That man pulled every kind of trick on us and did everything. He had me riding a wild horse, breaking a wild horse in, telling me that that's one of the champions. That's Joe Louis up there. You got to break that horse in. Don't let that horse throw you. Pretend that that's that fighter, that so-and-so, and he's trying to whoop you. And, I mean, we had to go through hell and high water to become champions. But nowadays, it's a pity-pat, tag. Ha, 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 ha. Jump up and down, turn a flip, do this, do that. Nothing serious-minded. So that's what I had to go through.
Got it. I got it. So at that point, as you're transitioning and mastering everything, when did you know like you were ready to take on the world as far as competition goes?
Well, when he got through beating on us. Well, no, shouldn't. When he got through training us, you know, we knew we were ready. I knew I was ready. Because when I used to go to those tournaments and they tell me I'm not going to win because we got 3 out of 5 judges or whatever, I knew I was ready. I knew I had to fight hard enough to prove myself. I had to fight hard enough to make them call my points. And that's when you keep winning and you keep winning, you know you got something going. But it takes the inner strength. You got to know. You can feel it. You know when you're ready. And it's not a plaything. It is for real. Meditation, concentration, breathing. When you're sleeping it, when you're walking it, when it's every day with you, when you're sitting at the table and you're eating it, as to say, every move that you make, you're thinking karate, breathing, focusing, and coming out on top. You have to feel that you're going to come out on top.
Got it. So at that point, how much of your day to day is focused in on martial arts and meditation as far as hours go? when you're taking on the whole world, like how many hours are you dedicating to this thing, and what does it look like?
Excuse me for laughing. I have to laugh. That's all day long. That's every day, all day long. I have one student. We're going to a tournament tomorrow up in Kinston. And his name is Stuart. Stuart, I got to talk about you a little bit here. You ain't the only one, though. Stuart would say, Master Moore, how long you want me to practice this? Oh, man, my leg is tired. How long you want me to keep practicing throwing these kicks, throwing these punches? I say, well, Stuart, keep practicing it till you can't practice no more. I say, Stuart, what do you hope that the man that you're going to have to fight at the tournament tomorrow is doing? Do you hope that he's at home practicing, throwing his punches and kicks? Or do you hope that he's at home watching TV, sitting back on the couch, smoking a cigar? The latter. I said, how good do you want to be? And that'd be my answer every time he would ask that question. I say, how good you want to be? How good do you want to be? It's up to you. It's up to you. How good do you want to be? You want to quit now and hope that your opponent is still fighting, still practicing? Or do you hope he's at home resting up?
That makes sense. So now,
I hope that answers it.
Oh, perfect.
That helped answer the question.
Perfect. I'm thinking too, like how do you earn a living or make money, like if you're at the height of your martial arts and you're doing this 24/7,
24/7, yes. Very little. And that's why it wasn't a form of just money. It was an art. It was a way of life. Not to say that the individuals nowadays that want to just do it just for the money can't become good, but they most time don't have their heart into it because they're more focused on what?
The money. The money. I got you.
And it's sometimes you have to take a student in.
Right.
I was just speaking about Stuart. When he saw me at this tournament, he said, Master Moore, you win all these tournaments. You're the best there is. I want to be good like you. That hit your heart, boy. They start talking like that. I want to be good like you, Master Moore. I want to be good like you. And when they start going through the training and they stick, they don't quit. They don't backtalk you. They don't get sassy with you. They just stick with it and work the way that you say work. Throw the punches, you say throw the punches. Kicks the way you say kicks, and on and on. It touches your heart. You know that they want to be good. So they may not have the money for the classes. They may not be as wealthy as some of the other students, but they got the heart and desire. I can tell you a little story real quick. We have to say that when the students come to the school and we tell them to get a broom and sweep up outside, sweep inside, clean, Oh, I didn't come here to clean. I didn't come here. Therefore, you didn't come here to learn. Well, I don't want to pay that much. I want to just pay this. You don't tell us. We tell you. We decide who gets it at no cost or at all costs. So we accept the student on their initiative, their heart, their love for the art.
That's powerful.
And that carries us a longer way. And speaking about that, Stuart, now he carried himself a long way. He didn't have the money. But if I was just wanting to teach for the money, I wouldn't have that national champion. He wouldn't have made it. Does that help answer your?
Absolutely. Powerful. So, you mentioned your student Stuart. So on the journey, to be the best, not only are you dedicating all your time and energy, but you also got to beat the best. That's how, Stuart became national champion. That's how you've become one of the greatest ever. So a lot of the guys that you competed against on the world stage, some of them were undefeated. Some of them were legends. I'm looking up top 10 martial artists of all time. You'll see Chuck Norris.
Yes.
You'll see Bruce Lee.
One of the best.
And
he was a movie star.
Yeah, but they still got him. They still got him on. They still got him on a lot of their lists. So
yes, get him on.
It's fascinating. We're gonna get to Bruce Lee, but let's get to some of the heavy hitters first. But Chuck Norris was somebody that you fought against and won against, but in previous interviews,
but they didn't want to give it to me.
Yeah. So walk us through the Chuck Norris fight and what occurred and how you can say you won the match even though they didn't want to give it to you.
Yeah, see, Chuck Norris was a great champion, and he had a spinning back kick that he won most of his matches with, and the spinning back kick was so fast that you couldn't dodge it. You couldn't get out of the way of it. But most of his competitors would back up trying to block it. Well, they weren't successful. It was just too fast. But Vic Moore didn't want to back up. I wasn't taught to back up. I was taught to move in, to go in. It was a different thing, backing up and going head on into that train, that rail, boom, boom, boom. So when he got ready to spin his back kick, first of all, I had to understand the human body. As an EMT, I had a lot of experience with the human body. As a firefighter, I had a lot of experience with the human body. I knew how it worked, how it functioned as a medical person and all. And it helped me. And I learned and I seen that when a person's shoulder moves, raises, they're going to throw a punch. It's coming at you because you can't punch without moving your shoulder. Can you? Well, I knew that. So when I see that shoulder move, I knew you're getting ready to blast me, but I'm coming in and blocking it before. When you get ready to kick me, you got to lift your legs. How can you kick me and I'm right nose to you, right down your breath, breathing. When you inhale, I exhale for you because I'm punching you. So every time you say, I say, you say, I'm punching you. I don't back up. And with Chuck Norris spinning back kick, I knew that. I knew not to back up and be bouncing around, but to sidestep at an angle, moving in and hit him. When you are up on one leg, your balance is broken. How can you kick without lifting your leg. If you lift your leg, I'm moving in on you. Now, if your leg happened to already be up, like one of the faster guys was, Bill Wallace, he moves so fast you don't have a chance to come in on him. His leg is up. But if your leg is up, you got to have your knee bent. Your knee is bent. And all I have to do is step in and catch your knee. And if I catch your knee, I can stop your kick. See, if I got control of your knee, you can't throw a front kick or a side kick or a back kick or a peanut butter and jelly kick at me. You can't kick. Your daughter right there, if she comes in on you and press your knee, you can't kick. It's theory. It's human anatomy. Now, for you out, then you got to block these techniques. So, knowing the human body is when a person get ready to punch, watch their eyes. You'll see their eyes are slightly open or closed. They're getting ready to punch you. It's Mother Nature. When the person get ready to kick you, they will wet their lips or swallow and look at their throat, and they're getting ready to kick you. See, that's theory. That's techniques. You don't get that by reading a book. You get that by practicing over and over and over and looking at the human body, studying the human body.
Right.
And when you can study the human body and know what the body is going to do. Now, I had to pick this up when I was a young kid, 7, 8, 9 years old, and on up to 13, 14, 15. When we got on the bus, we had to go to the back of the bus. We had to sit in the back of the bus. Well, I didn't care because I liked sitting in the back of the bus anyway, looking out the window. The window was a little bigger. And I could tell when the white folks was getting on if they was going to sit on the left or the right by reading their body language. I could tell if they was going to reach for the rail with the left hand or the right hand because I would see certain things that would telegraph from moving, motion. Right. Well, I kept that knowledge. And when I start fighting in competition, I'm reading the book. I can tell what the person is going to do before they do it. So that was Vic Moore. I say everybody telegraph. My competitors would say, well, Vic, if everybody telegraph, how do you telegraph? I say, well, I'm not going to tell you because then you know how I telegraph. But it's signs, tell signs that you're telegraphing.
Right.
And when I used to score my points, I would always laugh, snigger. My son, bless his heart, he even picked up on that. He know that when I'm getting ready to hit him. Don't hit me. Don't hit me. I say, why you think I'm getting... I see you doing that little laugh. You're doing that little laugh. Because when I used to get ready to charge in on you, I would give that little laugh. I'm going to blast you. It's coming. Now, I hope everybody don't remember that. They'll know how to get Vic Moore when he's coming in on them, but that was me.
So Chuck knows. So Chuck Norris this kick.
Telegraphing.
You telegraph.
He would telegraph it first because he would always move his body, his shoulders forward. He would throw this right shoulder and spin to get his momentum and blast you. Well, when I see that motion, I know to move in or to get out of the way, and it was too fast to be getting out of the way. So studying the human body, studying your opponent. And like I used to tell Stuart, what do you think that your opponent is doing? Is he practicing or is he home resting? you got to practice over and over and study your opponent. Look at your opponents and see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So not just with Norris, but with all of them.
Right. So
knowing what they're telegraphing.
So you telegraph Chuck Norris. How did you end up, winning the match, and how did they end up giving it to Chuck Norris?
Well, I had to knock him to the floor, which was the winning point. He sprawled out. He got up. He said, "Oh, Vic, you got me." Steve Armstrong, who was the head referee from Seattle, Washington, he didn't like that. And of course, naturally, he wasn't black. He wasn't a brother. He was, Caucasian, or white, And he had all the judges put their flags down and go into a room for a meeting. Said, no. We got to have a meeting first. We can't have this nigger beating our champion. Well, two of the judges had told me that. They all was white, naturally,
Wow, so that's what they said behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's what they told me behind the scene. He didn't know it. And he came back out and told the judges, we got to have that last point over again. Raise your flags when I say so.
Wow.
Wow. So he just threw a little something on, hit me on the arm, and he said, "That's it, raise your flags. That's the winner. That's the winner." When he got ready to leave, he said, "Vic Moore, I didn't have anything to do with that." He said, "Here's my program. I want to give you something." He wrote on there, "To the man that beat me, fair and square, Vic Moore."
Wow. You still have that?
Wow. No, that was 50, 60 years ago. It got lost somewhere. His wife that was with him, she said, "Wait a minute, Vic. I got something I want to give you." She wrote on her program, "To the man that beat my husband, Vic Moore." I said, "Man, y'all won't have to do that." Yeah. I was about in tears. They were so kind and nice. I hadn't eaten with them because we're friends, and I was visiting with them that day out at their house, and they was going to go to the store, but they couldn't decide which one wanted to go to the store. "No, you stay here with the kids." No, you stay here. My wife and I, she said, "Tell you what, if y'all can trust us, both of you go. We'll stay here with the kids, You will. Oh, thank you. They did, and we did. And that's the camaraderie that we had, And I was bouncing him on my knee, and I teased it with Chuck Norris once in a while when I do see him. I said, "You remember I used to babysit your kids? I used to bounce them on my." He'd laugh, But we don't find that camaraderie, this day and time. It may be one or two out there, but that's what we had to go through. As I was showing you, the Ku Klux Klan's patch on one of the competitors.
Right.
Gee. So with some of that story, here's a picture of Bruce Lee and I going at it.
Yeah, so you just mentioned that there's a big difference between a movie star and real life martial arts. So Bruce Lee, how did real life martial artists view Bruce Lee, and how?
Oh, excuse me for cutting you off. They Bruce him as God, as the disciple of Jesus Christ, and he can't be touched, and all. So, where did he get his black belt from? Who taught him? See, how many championships did he win? Can you name one person that he beat in a tournament?
Vic, now you heard starting some trouble now. You starting some trouble now.
You heard me say that everything that you see in the movies is fake. If everything you see in the movie is fake, then those that are doing the movie scenes, what are they doing? Are they doing it for real or they're faking? You answer that. Your answer has to be they're faking. They're not hitting the man for real. They're not cutting him for real. They're not. Well, if they're doing all of that for real, everybody that you see doing a movie scene is faking that movie scene. It is not for real. And he has been doing movies for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So what has he been doing for a long time? Faking. Faking scenes, faking scenes, faking scenes, faking. I don't care how tall he is, you still faking. He didn't go to the hospital, did he? He wasn't killed, was he? What do you see was real? Well, one of the extras that was going to be, he fought with him. Well, the kid was walking down the street and he challenged him. Oh, no, wait a minute. The kids walking down the street eating an ice cream cone, you going to call that a match? Jesus Christ. Hitting and everything ain't a match, you know? Who did he fight for real? Well, some of the extras that was in the movie. Oh my God, there you go again with this movie thing. Who went to the hospital? Who had a cut on their face? Who had it? You know? Now, would you compare a person that's been faking all of their lives against a person that's been practicing real martial art and competing against real competitors all their lives? Who would you put on top, the faker or the real man? Well, this guy is the faker and here's the real man. Now, you decide which one you would bet on. So don't tell me I can't whoop him. I can't beat him. Let's look at it for real. I've been asked who would have won if he was fighting for real. I would have. Me. Because I've been practicing all my life, hitting raindrops, snowflakes, punching at mirrors and fighting in bars and clubs under Master Trias to prove who was for real. Now, if you're going to take all of that and just throw it out the window and say that was fake, I don't think so. Now, cameras can speed up the frame, is called speeding up the frame. Make you look like you're going faster than what you're really going. They got sound effect. Make things sound like they're hitting for real. They're doing this for real and that, you know. So when you put all of this fake stuff, sound, fighting, it's fake. Against a person that's been doing it for real.
That makes sense. So walk us through what happened with the interaction with Bruce Lee and you.
He came up, he said, I have a punch that's so fast that nobody can touch it, coming in or going out. He said this in front of all the champions. Now them champions start looking at each other and laughing, saying, who's he? He's no champion. He's a movie star. He hasn't beaten anyone. He has, you know. And me and Jimmy Jones from Chicago and Artie Simmons from Erie, Pennsylvania was there with Master Trias. Master Trias told Ed Parker, the director of the event, I got 3 guys here I know can stomp him, can get in on him. He says, you think so? He said, I know so. He said, put one of them up. Bruce Lee says, you can't touch me coming in or going out, Master Trish. One of you guys get him up there and show him. Jimmy, you go. Artie, you go. Victor, you go. Victor says, Artie, you go. Artie says, Jimmy, you go. Master Trish, he looked down at me and said, Victor, get on up there and show that gentleman what we got. So when your instructor speak like that, you better get them moving. So I ran on up there. So, we got a volunteer. Give him a hand. I'm going to back up 4 steps and I'm going to come in and punch you, tap you in the chest. I'm not going to hit you hard. I'm just going to tap you and go in and come out and you won't be able to touch it. I looked at him. I said, you say what? I said, lightning is fast, but I damn near keep up with it. Everybody laughed, So he gets back. Ready? Yeah. He comes in with his punch. My hands to my side. I come up with a quick block of what is called a Nagashi-Yuke block, and I slapped his hand, blocked it before it got there. He didn't know what to think. The crowd go hooping and hollering. Woo! Did you see that? He said, well, let's try it again. Okay, so I'm looking at him. Now, I'm seeing his whole body. I know when he's going to be moving, and I'm looking at him, and I know he's coming in fast. He come in, throwing this lightning speedy punch, and I blocked it. Bam! Oh boy, he didn't know what to think. He was embarrassed. Everybody's laughing, saying Vic Moore's the man. He's the man, and all. He reached out and he patted me on my right arm. He says, boy, you fast. You're the fastest American I have seen. Swear. Oh God. Blocked both of his punches. He didn't know what to think. He said, well, let's try it again. Well, okay, we'll try for the 3rd time. But this time he don't throw his punch in at me. He just swing at my head 2.5 feet away. And everybody began to laugh at him, because he never even came close.
Wow.
And they would only show that punch on the internet over and over, trying to make it look like he's throwing 2 or 3 blows at my head. And it never even came close. So that was that, and then he got ready to walk away. I said, wait a minute, Bruce, let me show you how it's done. You blocked mine. We squared off. I came in and I tagged him right in the chest. Boom. And he swung and missed. I said, I said, we can go again. He said, well, okay. I come in. I said, I'm going to tag him a little harder this time. And I hit him and I tagged him a little harder, knocked him back slightly. And he swung and missed that one.
Wow.
I said, I'm faster than the Green Hornet. And he had tears in his eyes.
Wow.
I swear for God. Vic Moore was faster. I said, well, we'll go again. He said, no, you're the faster. That was his language, his word. He said, you're the faster. I said, well, you threw 3, so let me throw 3. He said, okay. And I just do a regular punch, see if he can block that, which he did, And he was so embarrassed, he didn't know what to say, what to do. And afterwards, he says, how you get so fast? And I told him, I said, that's my instructor over there, Robert Trias. He had me punching at snowflakes and raindrops and this and that, over and over and, thousands of times, He said, oh, so you use Mother Nature. That's how you got so fast. I said, well, yeah. That's the honest God truth. Now, people don't have to believe that, but that's the truth. And all I say, if Jesus Christ, if God can make a blind man see, if God himself can make a blind man hear, if God himself can make a crippled man walk, what's to say he can't make a man successful in his battles, in his fights?
Mm.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
So you said after that, you two went like to go spar, right?
He wanted me to check out his Jeet Kune Do. He said he had started a new style of karate. I said, well, Bruce says, you know, I'm too much of a traditionalist to go for all this jumping up and down stuff, this crap, you know, y'all coming up with now that, we just go around a little bit. And we did. We sparred around a little bit for about 5 minutes. He couldn't touch me. I was tagging him left and right, sweeping and hooking. He said, okay, you know, so he wanted to quit, you know, boom. How you get so fast? How you? I said, well, Master Trias, he taught me, you know, that was it, you know.
Man,
you know, he was a movie star. He wasn't a champion. You can't name me nobody that he fought except me, and he lost that.
that is fascinating, man. So
but he wasn't. People say, who was your best competitor? Bruce Lee? Heck no.
Who was it?
Bruce Lee wasn't no competitor. No, he wasn't the fastest. He wasn't no top competitor. Joe Louis, Mike Stone, Bill Superfoot Wallace, you know, all these real champions I had to fight. Nobody want to question me on that. You beat Bill Wallace? Wow. You beat Chuck Norris? If Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee had a fought for real, Chuck Norris would have killed Bruce Lee.
Wow. I think Chuck Norris admitted. I think Chuck Norris actually admitted that he would beat Bruce Lee in a fight, but he respected Bruce Lee's martial arts.
Well, all of the super champions would have to say the same thing. He wouldn't be the only one, you know.
So you mentioned Joe Louis within those guys of tough fights. So I saw.
Why people don't say, you mean to tell me you beat Joe Louis? Oh, man, Joe Louis beat everybody. Joe Louis was king. He was tough. He was strong. Yeah. I have to say all that about Joe Louis.
Yeah, there's actually a fight of you and Joe Louis online. And I took a look at it. I was reading through the comments, and a lot of people were like, man, this Vic Moore is not serious, man. Joe Louis definitely won that fight. I don't care what people say. They might have given it to Vic Moore, but Joe Louis had more tags. He had more hits. He looked like he was on top, you know. So with the fighting, what exactly, you know, a lot of people that I guess don't know martial arts and don't know how the points go and don't know what how you score and you know.
No, it's just a matter of opinion. It's a matter of opinion. Who you favor, you know? Some would say I favor, some would say he favored, some would say it was a tie, you know, and all. It's, you know, boom.
But you still won. I mean,
it's a matter of opinion, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he had won some. I have won some. Bill Wallace had won some. I won some. Mike Stone won some. I won some. No, he never did win any. It goes back and forth, you know.
And some of these guys, some of these guys were undefeated before you faced off with them, you know. Yeah.
And I would say this: just because I beat a champion does not stop that champion from being a champion. If that champion had to beat me, it doesn't stop him from being a champion. Mm-hmm. We're all a champions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely don't want to leave out Jim Kelly either, because a lot of people view Jim Kelly as one of the greatest black martial artists, and you beat him, you know.
Well, Jim Kelly was a good champion, you know. He did okay, but he wasn't in my eyes, a super champion like Mike Stone and Bill Wallace and Chuck Norris and whatnot.
Mm.
And they were so prejudiced when we fought. I beat Jim Kelly at the team championships. And the magazines and the paper writing the books and stuff, they were so prejudiced, they didn't even want to mention us.
Mm.
They mentioned all the fighters, who won and who this and that. They didn't have to not mention me. They didn't even mention him. They didn't even mention us.
Wow.
That was prejudice. I mean, here we're in one of the biggest tournaments, and you don't even mention the two blacks that was there.
Mm. That says it all. That says it all right there. So, you know, you mentioned you took some losses. You know, some of these guys got their fair share of Vic Moore.
Yeah.
How did you, as somebody that was beating everybody, how did you like deal with losing?
Well, I hate to sound like this or say like this, but did they actually win, or was they giving it? Because from my days on up, I had to go through prejudice stuff, you know, all of my days, you know.
Right.
Now, just because they say they have won, I'll give them that. But did they win? You know, when you look at the whole footage, you know. However, there's individuals that have beat me, scored a point on me that is great, good. Hey, you won, shake hands, go win.
Mm.
But most of the white folks will never acknowledge that a black man had beat him at anything. So
especially at the time.
it's very few have ever beat me in a match.
Mm.
And those that have was not the ones that people want to say that did.
Mm. That is fascinating. So, you know, you beat the best of the best. Like I said, I looked up the top martial artists of all time. Some of these guys' names popped up. Where does Vic Moore see himself in the all-time list? Do you think about that? Like where you rank amongst the best martial artists
Well,
ever?
that's a matter of politics, you know. Blacks is not going to never get all the benefits and the recognition that they deserve, that they have gotten. I can name, you know, dozens of blacks that have been on top that never got the recognition that they should get.
Mm. There's a transition that happens here from Vic Moore, the martial artist, to Vic Moore, the teacher, right? So at what point did you kind of say, all right, I'm transitioning here into just teaching? When did you know that you didn't want to fight anymore? Was it anything that occurred or just a natural transgression?
No, it was more or less my students. My students was begging me to retire so that they could win the world championship, so that they could win. My students used to finish second and third, because I was winning first, you know, and first. I got dozens of national and world champions. Woodrow Fairbanks, world champion. You know, Johnny Jugs, world champion. Chester Richardson, world champion. Hart Vine, world champion. Mike Award, world champion. I mean, how many people have had a world or national champion? As many as I have.
That's amazing, man.
You see, I don't just talk. I give you names. I tell you who I beat, when I beat, how I beat them.
Right. That's amazing.
People says, "Oh, I won the world championship." When? When did you win the world championship? What year was it? Who was it that you won it against? Where was it at? When? What year was that? I mean, let's see. You ask me any questions you want to ask. I'll tell you where, when, how, and how many times.
There it is. There it is. So as far as teaching goes, you've said that you can teach anybody. I mean, you've taught, I'm watching some of your clips. You're teaching young kids, you're teaching older people, the elderly, you're teaching and you're teaching people with special needs, you're teaching
chimpanzee.
Your kids. I was just gonna get into that, and you're teaching a chimpanzee, like so do you think anyone can really learn martial arts? And walk us through the chimpanzee thing.
Oh yes, I got a book here showing about the chimpanzee that I trained in karate, and it's on Amazon. I taught the chimp how to live in a total human environment. I taught the chimp to do karate techniques, and Robert Trias was so impressed with the chimpanzee doing karate, he promoted the chimpanzee to a yellow belt. And I kept the chimp going on up through different degrees. And I don't know if y'all can see any of these pictures good.
Yeah, I can see that one. Yep. Now is this an average chimpanzee? Is this a typical chimpanzee? Like what type of chimpanzee?
Well, no, it wasn't an average chimpanzee. To be honest, to be truthful, whether you want to believe it or not, it was a vicious chimpanzee. It was a mean chimpanzee. And the zoo was getting rid of the chimpanzee because the chimpanzee was so vicious.
Wow.
So I speak out when you say, was it an average chimpanzee? No. You walk up and you put your hand on the cage and the chimpanzee reach out and grab and pull it and about bite it off.
Wow.
When the chimpanzee was out, the chimpanzee would jump up and give you a double kick and knock you down and breaking your ribs. The chimpanzee had sent about 4 different people to the hospital. It wasn't a regular chimpanzee. It wasn't a little chimpanzee that you want, oh, ain't he cute? Ain't he? I had to make that chimpanzee like that. I dared that chimpanzee to take his hands off of my shoulder going through a crowd of people. I say, hands. And I'd blow my fist up, grip my teeth. I say, that's it, hands. So you keep your hands on me. Turn him loose. Turn her loose. The chimpanzee was dangerous. People talk about, I think I want to get a chimpanzee. A chimpanzee has 4 times the strength of a human.
Can pull your face off.
The chimpanzee is vicious, and it had its canine teeth.
Wow.
As well, as they generally in the zoo will have them pull.
So what made you had a what made you I mean, people might say this guy is crazy. Like, why would you want to train a chimpanzee?
Yeah, right. I will agree with you. I will agree. You never heard me say, no, I wasn't crazy. Yeah, I was crazy. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's why I beat a lot of people.
There it is.
A chimpanzee is deadly. Do not buy a chimpanzee. Do not try and train a chimpanzee unless you know some stuff. And if I didn't know judo, jujitsu, judo, and used to box, had 12 boxing matches and won all 12, and was a 5-time world karate champion, I don't think I would have been able to handle the chimp that I had. Now, there's some nice little chimpanzee. Nice little chimpanzee. Oh, it's a nice chimpanzee. No, I didn't have a nice little chimpanzee. I had a vicious chimpanzee that could swing up and kick you and break your ribs. I had my chimpanzee pulled me across the bed like I was a baby, snatched me, and I'm 200 some odd pounds, and it snatched me across the bed like I was a doll baby or something other.
Wow.
The chimpanzee was breaking boards. Where's some of the pictures at my chimpanzee breaking boards and stuff and bricks and carrying on. I taught my chimp how to do this stuff.
Wow.
Did I ever have to fight the chimp? Yes, I did. Who won? I won some, the chimp won some. I ain't said I wanted to fight.
So the chimp was living with you.
Yeah, the chimp lived with me. Brush your teeth, shampoo the hair, brush your teeth.
Wow.
Slept in the bed, fried bacon and eggs.
You taught the chimp all this? You taught the chimp all this?
I taught the chimp all this. Yeah.
Wow.
Chimp frying bacon and eggs, fixing a bowl of Cheerios by herself, pouring the cereal and the milk and all that. And
man, I'm just thinking too, like the great deal of patience you got to have to be able to teach a chimp.
Yes.
Man.
Yes. Give me that. There's her getting the eggs out of the refrigerator.
There it is.
I got some pictures in here. Her frying bacon and eggs. Anyway, buy the book. I got a magazine.
Yeah, I got my copy of the book. Definitely gotta,
Yes, it's a magazine. It tells some of the stuff I do. But come visit Vic Moore. Come visit, meet me at the tournaments, my assistant here, hey, Kiyoshi. Look here, put your face in the place. Yeah.
Who we got here?
Kiyoshi here says a lot of people are scared of me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he said. He said, they don't want to talk to me. He said, they scared when you talk to me.
Yeah, they'll call me and want to ask something about Vic. They get too intimidated. They're afraid he's going to be mean, or I don't know.
Oh, he's cracking me up right now, man. No, sir. No, sir.
No, I'm a nice guy,
Nice guy.
And if I wasn't that nice of a guy, I wouldn't been able to beat that chimpanzee. That chimpanzee was tough. How did I become involved with a chimp and able to? Because I said I can teach anybody. But anybody and everybody is not as tough as a chimpanzee. And if I got the patience and the fortitude to teach a chimpanzee, yeah, I can teach anybody. I'll be at Kinston High School gymnasium this Saturday. Mm-hmm. We have some students there, and you'll get to see how I go about training the students. Yes, I'm patient. Yes, I'm a nice guy, but a chimpanzee is not to be fooled with. And if I got the patience to teach a chimpanzee, I got the patience to teach you, to work with you. So, yeah, if I can be the chimpanzee most of the time, then why can't I be the Bruce Lee? Chimpanzee got 4 times the strength of a human.
There it is, man. So as far as the teaching goes, I mean, you obviously shown that you're a master at that as well. As far as what you look for in your students, what do you want your students to be able to know and do for you to be proud, for you to be like, all right, I did my job?
Discipline. The discipline.
Mm.
The discipline.
So right now, if we flash forward, martial arts, karate, it's done wonders for you as far as you traveling all over, you competing all over, it giving you the discipline and the skills in life that you needed, from 7 years old on. But right now, you're struggling with some injuries from the sport, and I know you have some torn
Not
ligaments.
necessarily from the sport. Not necessarily from the sport, but from these circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in need of a right hip replacement.
Mm-hmm.
My knee done got bad, stuff. So I got to go into the doctor and get all that stuff straightened out and taken care of. My manager, Chris Everett, is telling me quit putting it off to go head on and get in, so I can be more mobile around. But I'm
So
mobile enough to kick ass. Well,
so you wouldn't say it's from the sport. It's not from the sport. So I scratched that.
no, that's from the sport.
Okay, I got you.
But I won't take it or accept it, if you want to say so.
So I want to get into a quick little activity before we wrap up. Cole, what's your favorite? Just identifying a few of your favorite things, so you could be real brief or explain if you want. So what is your favorite teaching moment that you've had with one of your students?
Favorite teaching moment? Going through meditation and concentration on the phone. I have my students to meditate with me on the internet like this or on the phone, and we close our eyes and we block out all sounds and thoughts and meditate for 2 to 3 minutes with total emptiness. Then we'll take a spot and pick it out on the wall, a design or some sort, and the student will stand there and watch that design, and we would push and try and make that design move away, the whole wall to move away, and to bring it toward us, to make it move. And if you look and concentrate on a door, you would just about have to see through self-hypnotic state that door closing, shutting, and make it open. And you would stand there for 2 or 3 minutes until you can see it moving, see it come. Well, now that takes a lot of mental strength, telepathy, mental focus. Practice breathing, inhaling through the left nostril, exhaling out the left. Putting yourself into a hypnotic state. Going through that part of my training. I guess that's where I get most enlightened and satisfaction when my students say, "Oh, Master, I did it. I got it." And they about crying on the phone, and they was in such a hypnotic state, in such a positive state that they could do it. And here's one of my students here. He can attest to the fact that he had to concentrate so hard that he about was in tears, and he had to pull the wall and make the wall, the door, the calm, and stuff, Sensei, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Why would a man send a person through that kind of meditation, concentration, and breathing breathing so hard, breathing so long and so intense that physical cannot be overtaken by your meditation, concentration, breath control. See, when Joe Louis and I used to fight, we used to go into such concentration that we could stop the person from moving toward us, or we could just look so relaxed and make the person take a step toward us so we can be in close enough to hit them. To breathe in such, oh, you get me too psyched up.
That's a great. That's what we want. That's what we want. The passion.
To breathe where you can't even hurt me, choke me, and I stand there and you can't choke me out. Hit me, and you can't hurt me. Oh, don't get me started.
That's powerful, man. That is very powerful.
That ain't play when you can do that. You know,
now
that's how I was able to manipulate, work different competitors. Yes,
that's powerful. Now you know, I can't not ask you. Being that we spoke about movies, your favorite martial arts movie.
I don't really have any, but I have to go along with the Bruce Lee's movies, I go around holler. I get excited and start jumping. Oh, wow. I know it's fake. I've been in 7 movies myself, Sensei, right? I've been in 7 movies myself. I know movies are fake. I'm faking the parts that I'm playing. I ain't hitting those guys for real. I ain't trying to kill them for real. I'm faking the movies, So when I see the Bruce Lee movies and stuff, I get excited too because it is entertainment. It's drama. It's not real. When I watch Cowboys and Indians, I get excited too. The Lone Ranger, I get excited too. And when I watch Bruce Lee movies, I get excited too. It's a movie.
Gotcha.
They say, well, Vic, it looks so real. It looked like Bruce Lee is going fast for real. They speeding up the camera, the frame. They act like they hitting each other and barely touching each other and putting the sound to it. Pop, pop, pip, pop, 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 like popcorn popping. It's not real. It's fake.
Entertaining.
So I like movies.
Entertaining nonetheless. I noticed that you had a few challenges that you would do. There was one challenge where you would have somebody put something on their neck, and you would slice it. Slice
a potato off of the neck, or slice a carrot up in 5 or 6 pieces. Cutting a potato in 2 pieces. And stuff. Cutting the apple off their head. Oh, my son got me. I was showing him how to do it, how you want to be breathing, how close you come. You close, and the snap of it will pop it, will break it up. You don't actually touch the head, because if so, you're going to cut it open. If the blade touch the skin, it's going to pop it open, I put it up on my head, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't, thinking, I was still, and he cut that up off my head. 2 different. Oh, I said, oh, it scared the stew out of me, because I wasn't ready. I didn't know he had done got that good, practicing and all.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, we spoke about some fights that were outside of competition. What would you say was your favorite fight that was not part of, like, just a wild bar fight, or a fight that was with pedestrians or whatever, that was not any martial
Well,
arts competition?
I don't like talking about that, but in Cleveland, Ohio, I had several, run-ins. There's some of them ain't here no more. I can say that and just say that's enough to say. Nothing to brag about, nothing to boast about,
Yes, sir. Yes,
A
sir.
life is a life, boom.
I understand.
But I had some more, not to say sensible, I had some that, those are just some areas, I don't like to talk about,
Yeah, I definitely
But I've had-
understand. I definitely understand.
real. I've been in life and death situations. I've been in life and death situation 3 different times, and I'm still alive.
Enough said. Enough said. Enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said.
So I don't play. My karate, they don't play,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, last one here. Your favorite life gem or life lesson that anyone has ever taught you?
Life lesson would be humbleness. Would be my senseis, I had to give all of them credit. Not any one particular thing I can just lay my hand on, finger on. It's just, like I say, the whole art of karate is discipline, and to be able to show the discipline. I would say even in life and death situations, when you only had to go so far and not to have to go any further, so those are the situations, that means a lot, that I can, pat myself on the back and say, thank you. I'm glad you didn't.
So, right now you have Mr. Christopher Everett, great documentarian, former guest on the program. He'll be back. He is constructing a documentary of the great Vic Moore, Grandmaster Vic Moore's life. And I think this is so important. I've talked to him about this. Like we mentioned in the beginning, this is a missing piece of Black history that a lot of Black people do not know because of the racism of the past and the time frame that you were competing in. So as far as legacy goes, this is what Christopher Everett is helping you with. As far as legacy goes, what is the legacy that you want the name Grandmaster Vic Moore to have?
Well, patience, timing, acceptance, and acceptance is pro and con. Accepting what is good, accepting what is bad, and knowing the difference. Can't name any just one person or one thing because I'm such a conglomerate of circumstances and things that it's hard to just lay on one. I had more than just one incident, one circumstance, and also that's what makes it a little harder. And that's why I got to bring in the whole concept of what martial arts is all about, meditation, concentration, breath control, discipline, And when you put it all together, it's just one thing.
Powerful. For me, Grandmaster Vic Moore, one of the greatest martial artists of all time. And, it speaks for itself. Multiple time world champion, national champion, beat the best of the best, so I think that the proof is there. There's no like, well, prove it. Like you mentioned, it's there. It's there. It's documented, man. So I think that I hope that, documentary, hopefully in the future, the film of Grandmaster Vic Moore is going to display that you are one of the greatest to have ever lived as far as martial arts goes, and you proved it. The proof was in the pudding, as they say.
I thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I was, honored to have interviewed you today, man. And this is definitely one, for the archive.
Well, I feel so honored for you and the time that you've taken. And I know we'll probably have to break it up into 3 or 4 different sections, maybe. And I appreciate Chris Everett, for his endeavor, his work. And he's working right along with me. And I appreciate him immensely. And I thank him for this opportunity by you.
Likewise. Hopefully, Grandmaster will be able to get you back after the documentary comes out, and all that is going on. In the meantime, we appreciate having you on. Can you do us one more favor and leave us with your favorite quote and what it means to you?
Well, if I was speaking earlier, I say, if the Lord can do this, if the Lord can make a blind man see, and if the Lord can make a deaf man hear, and a lame man walk, why can't he be successful with your talents? So he can make you win anything, beat anybody, and do what you want to do. If you stay in his hands. See, I used to pray before every match. Well, I still do, but I didn't take it for granted. And I thank the Lord and bless him for my success. I thank him for my success. And I never take it for granted.
There it is. Grandmaster.
We walk by faith, not by sight. You may say it's my one particular saying. Walk by faith and not by sight.
There it is. Appreciate that. Again, thank you so much, man, for giving us some time today and digging deep into your life and your experiences and accomplishments. And again, I think it's definitely a piece of living Black history that we need. A lot of us look up to, martial artists that are actors, and not the real deal. We got the real deal right here, right now, talking. So it's important. It's important. So listeners, if you do not know Grandmaster Vic Moore, please check out upcoming documentary with Christopher Everett on his life, and any other things that you can find, because this is walking Black history and you need to know this. And of course, remember, your mind is the most powerful tool in the universe. If you can think it,
amen.
Yes, sir. If you can think it, you can do it. If you believe in it, you can be it. And if you fight for it, you can have it. The world is yours.
Amen.
This has been your host, Mr. G, and I will see you next time on MasterMine.
Mr. G. All right.
Yes, sir.